NASA's James Webb Telescope has begun aligning. The James Webb Space Telescope, the JWST, which has been only recently deployed, is considered to be a technological marvel, succeeding the Hubble Telescope. This telescope is going to be incredible for years to come as it forecasts some of the most incredible projections of our space. It hasn't even been that long yet since it was sent to space, but the James Webb Space Telescope has already begun with its shocking discoveries. What they are, we're going to be looking at it today. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you like the video if you're new here, and also subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any new updates. About the telescope. This telescope comes at a price of $10 billion, and it is NASA's largest science telescope. This telescope is a result of the collaboration between NASA, the European Space Agency, that's the ESA, and the Canadian Space Agency. NASA involved around 300 universities and organizations and companies across 29 states in the United States and 14 countries in order to produce this technological masterpiece. It's going to probe the entire cosmos, helping to reveal what our glorious space holds. In fact, it'll have much huger advantages over the Hubble telescope that the Hubble is going to look like a newbie when the JWST is finally functional. Speaking of the make of this telescope, its primary mirror measures 21.3 feet, whereas the sun shield measures 69.5 feet by 46.5 feet. The overall mass of this telescope is 6,500 kilograms. As for the movement of this telescope, it's going to orbit the sun in a different Lagrange point, which is going to help this telescope stay in the same line with the Earth. It's also predicted that this telescope is going to take a month to travel 1,000,000 miles to its permanent resting spot. This spot will be made stable by the earlier mentioned Lagrange point. This honeycomb-shaped structure is 3 stories high and is the size of a tennis court. This telescope structure is made up of 18 small hexagonal mirrors that are made up of beryllium coated with gold that have been optimized for reflecting infrared light from the end of the universe. Apart from this, there's the primary mirror backplane assembly and the deployable tower structure that lifts the telescope off on the air. The 3 arms present at the top come together in a ring where the secondary mirror is going to reside. Now moving on to the telescope's focus. According to NASA, this telescope will focus on 4 sectors: light in the universe, assembly of galaxies in the universe, the birth of stars, and finally the planets that came into being. All 4 of them are discussed below. The light in the universe refers to the universe's early stages after the Big Bang took place. After it occurred, the universe was an entire set of particles that consisted of simply neutrons, electrons, and protons. There was no light visible until the universe cooled down, and these particles began to combine. The early instances of how our universe came into being will be looked into in this study. Looking at galaxies is a helpful way to see how the matter became organized in different states and in small and big. This gives us hints as to how the universe evolved after billions of years. The spiral and elliptical galaxies we see today evolved from different structures. Astronomers and scientists are trying to figure out how different kinds of galaxies came into existence and how galaxies form and assemble. The birthplaces of stars will also be something that this telescope will be looking towards. Stars are clouds of gas, and as they tend to grow, the exerted radiation manages to blow away the gas on their outer layers. The infrared eyes of this telescope discussed at the start will help look at the sources of heat, especially those stars born with these gases. The origin of planets, in which our Earth is also included, will be observed. And with the vast number of planets discovered in the same decade or so, it's going to be a treat for this telescope. The powerful sensors of the James Webb Space Telescope will look into these planets with more depth and imagine their atmospheres during the time of their origin. Understanding the conditions of other planets will help scientists to decide whether a planet is habitable or not. Stunning imagery is something that's going to be a norm from the JWST, and when we actually get to receive the breathtaking images of space, then that will be the time we can actually go on and appreciate the JWST for its work. We hope we get to see a lot from it because the telescope should be good in its functionality, along with its appearance. The HD 84406 will be in for a photography session if all goes well, and the JWST will definitely have a good time as it images the star and others after it. As we get pictures of new constellations in our skies, the thing that needs to be paid attention to is its focus, which is increased. With 18 images being received at the start and 1 focused image being received at the end, there needs to be a way to focus on these celestial bodies quicker. There shouldn't be a need for 18 images to show up at first and then a single clear image that comes up. With lesser number of images of a single body, there will be more time to focus on other celestial bodies. Looking for the first glimpse of a star, the James Webb Space Telescope is having its instruments being powered up. The star that has been made the central observation point is the HD 84406, which is located 241 light-years from the Earth. The images of this star will be taken by the James Webb Near-Infrared Camera, NIR-CAM, which is going to cool down first to its operational temperature, that is 244 Fahrenheit. Alignment of the telescope. Another major task which this majestic telescope is focusing on is its alignment, which is going to be very critical in its work. But it is something that the telescope needs to get just right in order to capture images of interplanetary movements and objects that it sees. Not more than 10 days ago, for the first time, there were photons from distant stars that managed to travel through entire telescopes, and they were detected by the NIR-CAM. And this was a massive movement that could contribute to a lot. It also set the platform for the telescope's alignment, which relies on data collected by NIR-CAM. This milestone marks the first of many steps to capture images that are at first unfocused and use them to slowly fine-tune the telescope. NASA officials wrote in an update today, "This is the very beginning of the process, but so far the initial results match expectations and simulations. This clearly indicates that the entire process is getting pictures from the telescope, and it will be a lengthy one, and that to finally have the pictures for ourselves, we will need to be patient." To work together as a single mirror, the telescope's 18 primary mirror segments need to match each other to a fraction of a wavelength of light, approximately 50 nanometers. NASA officials wrote, "To put this in perspective, if the Webb primary mirror were the size of the United States, each segment would be the size of Texas, and the team would need to line the height of those Texas-sized segments up with each other to an accuracy about 1.5 inches, that's 3.8 centimeters. The alignment phase comprises of 7 steps, which will keep on imaginary Webb captures of the bright star HD 84406. The mission will help the team take photos of the star with all 18 mirror segments being put to use. Then all of the information that will be received from the photos will be analyzed. 4 scientific instruments associated with the telescope must remain very cold in order to pull off the procedure of alignment and this picture-taking process. The part that is going to help this telescope in the process will be its huge 5-layer sunshield, which will help it block and carry out dispersal of the solar radiations of the sun. Alignment is in the end game for the JWST. The work of commissioning the 4 scientific instruments mentioned above will be done somewhere around late June or early July. This is the time when we should really get excited about this telescope, because the most groundbreaking results will be shown to us during this time. We can only hope that this technological marvel exceeds all its expectations and gives us the sweetest views our space has to offer us. And that's all we had for today. If you enjoyed this video, then do give us a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss any upcoming videos from us.